Previously on Poker Jesus. As I make the call, I say if you've got 8s full, you're good, and see the bad news. The river brings in the 7 and 5, giving Aaron the nuts on the top board, where I flop the full house. We go 6 ways to a flop of 6 deuce deuce, once again completely missing me. The turn is the 10 of clubs, bringing in a second flush draw to worry about and giving Akash the stone cold nuts. We go 7 ways to a flop of king, king, queen with 2 diamonds. Oh, look at that. Once again, a flop we miss. This is becoming a recurring theme for the night.
I'm Anthony. I've been playing poker for a living since 2019. Hit that intro.
Don't soul roll me if you get quad 4s, man.
You folded king, king, jack, jack? You owe me $350. Your money should be in there too.
Did you bluff me?
Would I ever bluff?
I'm leaving right there. I'm on
No,
tilt.
it's on tilt. Thank you, sir. I would not lie to you, sir. I told you I had a full house. Doing the Lord's work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
The $10 straddle is on, and trouble opens for a raise from the +1 position with double suited kings. On the button, I have a solid ace-jack, 10-7 with a suited ace. I make the call, and we wind up going 3 ways to a flop of 9-8-3 with 2 clubs and 1 spade. Kenny has flopped the nut flush draw plus middle set and checks. And now Trouble, who's got an overpair and the second flush draw, opts to bet 55. I'm not a big fan of this play because this flop texture heavily favors his opponent's calling ranges over his raising range. And with my hand, I flopped a nice wrap straight draw. Any 6, 7, 10, jack, or queen will give me the straight. I also have a club blocker and backdoor spades. When Trouble leads into me on this flop, since I view him as a relatively solid opponent, I'm expecting he's likely got aces with the ace-high flush draw to continue betting into Kenny and I here. So I call with position, as I want to see a safe turn card before I commit. However, Kenny has other plans. Lying in the weeds, he springs his trap, raising to 300 with the nut flush draw and middle set. Trouble gets out of the way, and unfortunately, without clubs of my own, I can't continue and I opt to lay it down. I find 10-9, 7-7 with 3 spades to my 10, and I bring it in from under the gun. Kenny in the hijack gets squirrely again after a few limpers, raising to 20 with king 10, 4-4 double suited. I really hope the graphics are just wrong here, but anyway, we take the flop 5 ways with falls ace 5-4 with 2 spades. We all check to Kenny, who's flopped bottom set and backdoor nut clubs, and makes a half pot bet of 50. With just the 10 high spades and 3 spades in my hand, I can't continue, and neither can anyone else. Kenny's going to take this one down. With multiple limpers, I'm on the button holding jack 9, 9-8 suited in clubs to my jack. I make the call, and we take a flop 7 ways, which falls ace, king, 7 rainbow. Ugh. I just cannot connect with anything today. When Akash bets $15, I'm out. The $10 straddle is on. I limp under the gun with king 10, 9, 7 suited in diamonds to my king. I'm not a big fan of this play. My hand has some connectivity, but it's a little too disjointed to be coming along from under the gun with the rest of the field behind me. I'd be much more comfortable if I was in the cutoff or button. Multiple limpers head to Trouble on the button, who decides to raise it to 45 holding ace-king, queen 10 suited in hearts to his king, and we take a flop 5 ways, which falls 10-8-8 rainbow. I flopped open at a straight draw, but on a paired board against multiple opponents, one whom happens to have hit the 8, there's not much I can do but fold when facing Pharaoh's bet. Having not gotten much going throughout the night, I'm coming in a lot lighter than usual as I bring in from under the gun holding ace-8, 6-3 with a suited ace. There are multiple limpers and Akash on the small blind raises holding ace-king, 10-8 suited spades to his 10. We go 4 ways to a flop of king 9-5 with 2 diamonds, and Akash continues firing, betting 50. I flop the nut flush draw plus a gut shot straight draw, and I don't mind others chasing weaker flushes, so I just make the call. Unfortunately, there are no other takers, and we go heads up to the turn, which is the queen of spades. Akash checks, and against guys like Kenny, Trouble, or Grinder T, I could bet here to represent the jack 10, but I don't think Akash is the right player type to make that play, so I take my free card, which unfortunately is just the 3 of hearts. He checks, and I really don't think I can get him to fold. I just give it up and check it back, and he'll take it down with his king. The $10 straddle is on, and after 2 limpers on the button, I pot it to 55, holding ace-king, jack 5 double suited in spades and clubs. My kingdom for a flop. Please let me flop something, some kind of draw, something, please, anything. Surprisingly, Wayne in the small blind just calls, holding double suited aces. I'd really like to see him re-raise in this spot, as his side cards aren't all that great except for their suitedness, and he'd be better off isolating me as the short stack rather than giving the rest of the field, including some deeper stacked opponents, a chance to outdraw him. We go 4 ways to a flop, which falls... Hey, I think we've seen something like this recently. 10-10-8 with 2 diamonds. Once again, I've completely whiffed, and it's checked around. The 4 of hearts on the turn changes nothing, and now Wayne starts betting, but betting less than a quarter of the pot. No one has anything to call with, and he'll take it down. The $10 straddle is on, and T-Grinder raises from the +1 position with Queen Jack, Jack 9, and 3 diamonds. I have finally seen him raise without an ace, or without aces. Anyway, Aaron calls with Ace, King, Queen 2, double suited in hearts and clubs, and in the cutoff I make a bad call with King Jack, 10-2, suited in diamonds to my king. Yes, I have position on these guys, but the 2 kills my hand, and the gap on my rundown is at the top, plus T-Grinder tends to have a tight range, so he likely has many of the cards I need to hit anyway. I think I should be folding this, but since the session has been going not so well, I'm just desperately trying to hit something, anything to win a fucking pot. And this, my friends, is just bad play. Just because I haven't been running well doesn't mean I need to start playing poorly as well. Oh, look at that. Kenny wakes up with aces. Again. What is this, Kenny? Like the 20th time you've gotten aces tonight? Well, we're going 6 ways to a flop, which falls King 5-4 with 2 hearts. Trouble has flopped the Queen High flush draw plus middle set and bets out. Aaron has flopped the nut flush draw, top pair, top kicker, plus a got shot draw to the wheel, and backdoor Broadway draw. He comes along, and with just top pair and nothing else, I fold, having wasted $20 even getting this far. Alright, you'll notice I finally added another $500 to my stack. Now some of the other players that are a bit too loosey-goosey eating a sandwich have started to stack up a bit, and I want the opportunity to win something of substance if I get involved in a pot with them. There are a few limpers, and in the hijack I come along with Ace, Queen 6-2 with 3 hearts to my ace. Once again, I'm loosening up too much, desperately playing this suited ace just because it's suited, ignoring my shitty 6 and 2 side cards or the fact that I have a third heart blocking me from improving. I'm going to need an extremely specific flop to continue with this hand. And yeah, calling $5 from the hijack isn't the worst play in the world with this hand, but it's not great either, and a $5 mistake can lead to a larger monetary mistake as the hand progresses. Oh, look at that! Kenny in the small blind decides to make a small juicer raise to 15 holding King Jack, 9-8 double suited. Motherfucker. If I had any fucking balls, I'd just repot his ass with my shitty cards.
Stop being a little bitch, you little bitch.
But instead I go from making a $5 mistake to now making a $15 mistake. And we'll take a flop 6-handed. The flop comes down Ace Jack 5 with 2 clubs and 1 heart. Kenny must have this deck marked like a motherfucker to know to juice the pot out of position with his suited king and then just flop the nut flush draw. I'm watching your ass, Kenny. I'm watching.
I thought you were on ace high. Ace high.
And then so why call with jack high then?
First of all.
Anyway, my hand finds the muck, another $15 wasted, and these little leaks all add up to eat into your win rate. The $10 straddle is on, and there's a couple of callers. On the button, I wake up with ace-ace, 7-2 suited in spades to my ace, and I fucking had it. No more limping, motherfuckers. The price of poker is going up. I pot it to 65, and both T-Grinder and A-Cash come along with pairs in their own hands. That's a pretty fantastic spot for me, as 3 ways my hand has over 46% equity, and I have position on both of my opponents. The flop falls Queen 5-5 with 2 spades, and while the equities on the screen account for folded cards, without looking at those, my hand has close to 75% equity in the spot 3 ways. When it checks to me, I flop the nut flush draw, plus aces up. I don't expect Grinder T to have a 5 in his hand all that often, but A-Cash could have any 4 cards. Still, I expect I'm ahead, but I hate my bet of 150 here. It's too large in relation to the size of the pot, and that isn't needed. I should be betting half pot, even a little less, as generally I should be ahead on a board like this, and I don't want to discourage anyone with the king high flush draw from continuing. But never mind all that. Clearly I'm a fucking genius, as A-Cash calls with this king high flush draw. The equities shown on the screen again account for folded cards, but in an equity matchup without having that information, my hand is 85% equity against A-Cash. Just a dream fucking spot. The turn falls to 10 of clubs, and A-Cash checks, and now I'm in a way ahead or way behind spot. My opponent called a very large flop bet, and I have a little less than a pot size bet behind, as does my opponent. I expect my opponent either has the king high flush draw, which I'm not afraid of him hitting, or he's got queens full or a 5 in his hand and is slow playing it. and then I'm way behind. Given this, I don't see much reason to bet, as I'll just scare off his king high flush draw, or I'll get called when I'm crushed. Looking at the equities online, I'm almost 88% now on the turn. A-cash needs to hit an 8 to fill up, or a jack for a gut shot straight. Oh, you bitch. Damn it, Nez, I'm already having a rough session. Why? Why would you do this to me? The river falls the fucking 8, and A-cash announces pot, shoving all in. And there's no way I put him on 8s full here. Not in a million fucking years. But I do suspect I'm up against 3 of a kind at a minimum, and after some hamming and hawing and cursing my luck, I make the correct laydown. We've got ourselves a double board bomb pot. In the cutoff, I hold ace jack 8-4 suited in clubs to my ace. The flop falls ace 3-5 with 2 clubs, and king 10-2 with 2 hearts. So I've got a gut shot draw to the wheel, plus the nut flush draw up top, and a gut shot Broadway draw on the bottom, although the queen of hearts could be bad. It's checked around, and the turns fall the 2 of spades and the 3 of hearts. Pharaoh, having turned a 9 high flush draw on the bottom board, bets a measly $25. Trouble comes along with a wheel up top and a jack high flush on the bottom. T-Grinder has the king high flush on the bottom. He makes the call. Aaron has 2 pair on both boards. He makes the call. I've got the wheel plus the nut flush draw up top and a wheel draw that's no good on the bottom, and I make the call. And now Wayne on the button comes in for a raise to $175. He's turned the nuts up top with a straight to the 6, plus a redraw to the nut spade flush. And on the bottom, he's got a 6 high heart flush plus a gut shot to the straight flush. Everyone else folds, and being only strong on one board, I decide I could be getting free rolled for stacks, or, as we see here, absolutely crushed, and I find the fold button as well. Does anyone remember what it's like to win a hand? Pepperidge Farms remembers. There are multiple limpers, and Aaron raises it up from the low jack holding ace jack 10-3, double suited in hearts and diamonds. I'm next to act with ace queen 6-2 suited in hearts to my queen, and once again, I decide to make a bad $15 decision, which could lead to more expensive bad decisions later, because I have a suited ace and no side cards. I continue to just desperately try to hit some flop against these guys. We go 7 ways to a flop, and hey, look at that, swing and a miss, 10-4-2 with 2 spades. It's checked to Wayne in the cutoff, who has the nut flush draw. He opts to bet it, and Pharaoh on the button has top set and opts to protect his hand, raising the pot to 305, and once again, we throw away $15.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. Oh, fuck you.
All right, this is the last hand on stream. I'm stuck something fierce. Nothing has gone my way all night. I've started playing bad. Surely I can win one hand. It's a double board bomb pot, and I've got king jack 9-7 suited in clubs to my king in the +1 position. The flops fall 10-8-4 with 2 clubs and ace queen 7 rainbow. I flop the second nut flush draw, plus a solid wrap straight draw, but it's all on the top board. On the bottom board, I have a gut shot Broadway draw, but one of the 10s I need is already on the top board. I check to see what transpires, and Wayne, having flopped middle set up top and top pair no kicker down below, leads for $45. Everyone gets out of the way, and I make the call.
Here you go, homie.
Yeah, thanks, Poker Jesus. Where the fuck were you the rest of the night? The turn comes the ace of diamonds and the 10 of hearts, giving me the nuts on the bottom board and still having my draws up top. I don't have a ton of chips left, and I don't want my opponent to check, so I lead for a pot-sized bet. I can either win the whole thing without improving on the top board, or get action with the potential to scoop and double up. Wayne thinks for a while, but decides to give it up, so I finally take a pot down. All right, that was a rough live stream. I feel like I didn't get a ton of playable hands, and the hands I did play, I whiffed most of the flops. Now, I did have some spots as well where, I got unlucky, where I outflopped T-Grinder, where he had his aces, and I flopped top 2 pair. He continued, and he binked the gut shot, and didn't make any more money for me. And then A-Cash hitting that 8 on the river was pretty brutal as well. I was way ahead of him. So, I did have some spots where I ran bad, but I also, picked some spots where, I started to loosen up a little bit too much, like ace, queen, 6 deuce, just because the ace was suited. So there were definitely spots where I was burning money, $5 here, $15 there that I didn't need to. And that adds up as well. But overall, I do feel mostly like I just didn't get a ton of playable hands. I didn't hit a lot of flops. Now, fortunately, despite losing close to $1,000 on the stream, we did continue playing post-stream, and I managed to recoup most of it. I still wasn't able to book a profit on the session, but I was in for 1,500, out for 1,231, so lost 269 on the session. Could have been worse. Viewers Vernon Swango and Precise One commented that they felt I played too tight and too passive, and I feel like I actually opened up my game more on this stream. I was raising more frequently. In position with, ace, king, jack 5 double suited, with 10, 10, 9, 6, 8, 8, 7, 6 or 8, 8, 7, 5. So I think I opened my game up more and was less passive and less tight than I normally am. But, that's your perception from watching it. So I'm just giving my perception from my typical play. Viewer Justin Karen, who's actually an old buddy of mine from high school, commented that he was hoping that this episode I would run a little bit better, and that post-stream, hopefully I would make some hands as well. And while this episode I didn't really run better, fortunately post-stream I did, and so thank you for the support, man. Appreciate it. Hope you've been well. All right, now on to some exciting news. I'm going to be attending this year's World Series of Poker. I haven't been to Vegas since 2009, and I have never played any events at the World Series of Poker. So I'm pretty excited for this. The hotel and the flights are booked already. So I am going to be there the second week of June. I'm planning to play 3 events, and 2 of them are brand new on the schedule. So first up is going to be the $1,500 Badoogie event. I believe that's June 7th. And then I'm planning on playing the $1,000 8-handed PLO event, which starts on June 8th. And of course, that's if I'm not still in the Badoogie event. And then after that is the 3 million guaranteed Gladiators of Poker, another brand new event. And that will be that weekend again, provided I'm not still in one of the other events. So pretty excited for that. I'm going to be out there for about a week. I did a few days ago get an account set up on Stake Kings. I'm waiting for them to approve me on the site so that I can sell action. I am planning to sell some action for this series. So as soon as I have that all set up and I have the information, I'll create another video and let everyone know if anyone wants to buy a piece. And thanks for tuning in. We will see you in the next one.
After watching a video like this, sometimes I'll like it, sometimes I'll leave a comment, and sometimes I'll subscribe. Sometimes I'll even do all 3.